I've always been fascinated and made a couple videos about Beethoven's deafness, the pieces that he wrote during that time period, the late period of his life. But the other thing I always thought about is why he would write music that he couldn't hear, that he could only hear internally in his head, in his mind. How he could write such beautiful music and why he would write such beautiful music. I can't even imagine living through what he lived through at that time and to have this sense that he had, this incredible sense of hearing that he grew up with, having that taken away and still being inspired to write music is just really kind of the triumph of the human spirit right there. That's the only thing I can think of. I was just listening to a piece, one of my favorite of the Beethoven piano sonatas. Now there's 32 Beethoven piano sonatas starting that believe he wrote the first one in 1795, Opus 1, which is in F minor, and then the 32nd piano sonata, Opus 111, which was finished in 1822. Now Beethoven died in 1827, so this is right at the end of his life. But I was listening to Opus 110, which is in A-flat major. And I was listening to Daniel Barenboim's version because it's his 80th birthday today. Daniel Barenboim is one of the greatest musicians of the last 2 centuries, really, and one of the greatest living pianists. Basically, he and Martha Argerich are the 2 remaining giants of the piano. And I thought it would be fitting, since it's his 80th birthday, to talk about and play him playing Beethoven, because he was a genius. He was a genius at playing all different composers' music, but Beethoven especially, he was a master of. He recorded all 32 piano sonatas, which is a feat within itself. The first person to ever perform the piano sonatas was a pianist in the 19th century named Hans von Bülow, and he referred to the 32 Beethoven piano sonatas as the New Testament, and the Bach Well-Tempered Clavier, books 1 and 2, as the Old Testament, which I think is pretty interesting, pretty cool. Very few people can play these 32 piano sonatas, and even less of them that can play them from memory. This particular one, Opus 110, starts out beautifully. Let's listen to the beginning of it. Perfect. It's like rain. Oh, beautiful. As I play this, imagine Beethoven hearing this in his head and writing it down, and never actually hearing it through his ears. I mean, never ever experiencing this except in his mind. Just think about that as you're listening. Love this. Perfect. Beautiful phrasing. Ah, I just love that. I think that's the most beautiful. The last movement, which starts out with an arioso, slow piece, then it goes into a fugue, and then it goes back to an arioso, then it goes back to another fugue. First fugue happens about 4 minutes in or so, and it's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. Oh man. Wow. Ah, beautiful. When I listen to Beethoven's late music, like why would he write it? What would compel him to? Once he lost his hearing, why didn't he just become despondent and not do anything anymore? Because he needed to put these ideas down. That's the only explanation that I can come up with. How do you think of such beautiful music when you can't hear? Why does it? My God, people are. I just think of myself as being the laziest person in the world when I listen to this, right? And he's writing the late string quartets. He's writing the Ninth Symphony all at the same time. He's only got a few more years to live. He died in 1827, right? This is 1821. He's got 6 more years of his life. But it was this terrible 6 years. Beethoven was an incredibly unhealthy guy. He was always ill, yet he wrote this beautiful music. Listen. I don't want to discount all contemporary music, but I think of this, and I think of the guy that wrote this was deaf at the time. And when you think of all just the stuff that you hear when I do these top 10 countdowns on the pop charts or whatever, and then you think of someone that can't even hear their own music that's compelled to write this, is really, once again, the triumph of the human spirit. This is Daniel Barenboim's version of the Piano Sonata, Opus 110, Piano Sonata number 31 of Beethoven. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Maestro. Thanks so much for watching.